All right, hi guys. I'm here to tell you today a story. Might sound kind of funny, but it's about a frisbee, and it's actually really important to me. So let me get started. So I was in South Carolina at a Navy training, like A school, where you learn how to do your job, and I was doing some physical training at this place, the multi-purpose field. It was just a soccer field. That's all it is. But that's what it was called, a multi-purpose field. So I was there, and we were working out, and I saw this frisbee just laying out, just on the side. There's all this stuff left there, and like, man, that's a cool frisbee. It was a yellow frisbee. It's got like it's a yellow disc, like a green stripe, just a hole in the middle, and I really wanted to take it. I was like, man, that's a cool frisbee, but I wasn't minding though, so I just figured I should leave it there. I gave it, 24 hours. Came back the next day, same time, and it was still there. So I was like, taking this, it's mine. So threw it around my friend Chris a little bit, and really threw pretty good. It was cool because you could catch it, like you could pierce it through the hole in the middle, and it would just wrap around your hand and come down, which is pretty neat. So I took it back to my barracks room, and now trying to figure out when I was going to use this, like when this frisbee going to come in handy. A couple weeks later, my family came down to visit in South Carolina, and we did some stuff, and one like evening, me and my brother went to the beach. So we went to Folly Beach. We threw it around, and the sandbar was like huge. So this is pretty cool. We got like really good distance throwing it. We figured out you could boomerang this frisbee, so you could throw it at the waves, and it would just like roll and come back to you, run, go get it. So it was like really pretty cool, and we had a lot of fun. And then, that they went back, shortly thereafter. I was there in South Carolina a little longer. And then a couple months later, I was graduating. My family came back down. My friend Albert came with them, and we brought the frisbee. Went to a couple of places. We went to this place, Daniel Island. It was like this island on the side in Charleston, and there was this big pond, and it's like big ass park. It's pretty cool. And we threw the frisbee there. It's pretty solid. And in this pond, there was this fish, and it just like, it's a freshwater pond, but this fish just kept jumping out of the water. It was like 4 feet out of the water. Like, you never see it coming. It was surprising every time. But that's kind of moving on. So after that, my graduation, we went on a trip to back to Columbus, Ohio, my hometown. Me and Albert and my brother in my 1993 Ford Thunderbird. We were just driving. So we ended up in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and we did a couple things. We played mini golf. It's a bunch of weird stuff. If you ever been to Gatlinburg, it's like kind of an interesting place. But so one night we were going to this hotel in Gatlinburg, and like we ended up buying at this gas station. There's like this hookah. It was the stupidest little hookah. It was like, it had this plastic brim on it, so if you put coals in it, the brim just like melted. It just like fell apart. It was ridiculous. So at the gas station, my friend Albert meets these chicks, and he's like, "Hey, do you guys want to come to our hotel and hang out?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure, just me, my brother, and Albert." So these chicks show up a little later. And they're like, "Do you guys want to smoke weed in the hookah?" And we're like, "Oh, no." So we told them to get out, and threw the frisbee around in the parking lot a little bit. After that, a little bit of a somber night, but it was pretty fun. And we made it back to Ohio, and then I went back to South Carolina. I had a couple of, I was done with training, but I was like on kind of a hold period in between things. So I took some college classes, and then right before I figured I was gonna move to New York, so Albany. I was gonna go to Boston Spa, which is like 45 minutes of Albany, to go to nuclear reactor prototype. I wanted to be an electrical operator, but it's kind of like beside the point. Um, so right before I'm leaving, I want to go to the beach, like one last time. So me and my friend Matt, we go to the beach. We bring the frisbee, obviously, and throw the frisbee, just having a real good time. And then start to get a little bit, distracted. There's like some chicks at the beach, some tacos, volleyball. Like, all right, like it's a pretty good day at the beach, Folly Beach, and had a pretty good time. Starting a little burnt, tired. Like, all right, let's head back. So we head back, and I get back to my barracks room. I'm unpacking my stuff, and then a couple days later, I'm like packing to move. And I'm like, "Where's the frisbee?" I realized, like, wait a second. I think I left it at the beach. I'm like, first thing I want to do is I want to go to the beach, try to find it. I'm like, man, this sucks. Where is it? But I'm like, you know what? Like, it's just a frisbee. Whatever. So, pack my stuff when I'm moving to New York. So, drive up, hang out with my sister in New York City for a day or two. And then I drive up to Albany, move into my new house in Boston Spa. And it was pretty neat. Kind of country. I really liked it up there. And then a couple weeks later, my roommates were like, let's have a party. So they have this party, right? And they invite like a bunch of guys from work. They're like total sausage fest, like just dudes. That's it. And then party's going for a little while. And then this guy I'd never met before, I think his name was John. He's this gay guy, and he brought this girl that I never met before either. So there's one girl at the party now. So I'm like not trying to like. She was like okay, I guess, but like I'm not trying to. It's not really a good vibe, But so this guy I know was at the party, McMullen. He's like he pours this like double shot of Everclear. I never had Everclear, so I don't know what Everclear is. He's like, don't drink that. So me, don't listen to anybody. So I'm like, I'm going to drink it. And everyone's like, no. I drink it. And I'm like, oh, that burned a little bit. And I'm like, oh, God. I had no idea what happened. So about 20, 30 minutes later, I'm in the basement. So in the basement, there's like a beer pong table, and there's a door hole. There's no door. And inside that door is my room, fish tank, my bed. So I can't really go to sleep or anything at this party because like the beer pong table's right outside my bedroom. And whatever. So I'm standing outside my room, people are playing beer pong, and then I end up kind of like talking to this chick, and then she ends up like leaning on me, and I'm kind of like holding on to her. She's like soft and like a little bit warm, I'm just kind of gone. And I realized that, I just want to go to sleep. So I'm like passing out, and then I just all the way down, headbutt her, like wakes me up when I headbutt her, and then we're making out. I'm like, oh man, I didn't know that was a move, but I guess it worked. Whatever. So then we end up in my bed. We're hooking up, and like still beer pong going on outside. Not really a good night. And I wake up in the morning. I'm hungover. I'm like kind of upset about everything that happened, and I walk out of my room, there's some mess everywhere. It's beer pong stuff, like just beer cans, just balls, people's stuff just left in their basement. And then I look at the table and see this yellow frisbee with the green line. And I'm like, no, that's not the same frisbee. Like, it's somebody had just the same one, right? And so I go back to work like a couple of days later, and I call I talked to some of the guys that were at the party. I'm like, hey guys, like, is this your frisbee? And they're like, one of them's like, yeah, that's my frisbee. I think I left it there. I'm like, oh, like, where did you get it? Oh, funny story. Last summer, I found it at Folly Beach. And I was like, what? You found it at Folly Beach? So then I told him this whole story. And he's like, oh man, you can have it. So I got my frisbee back. So I'm still in South Carolina I'm still in New York for a few more months. And go to some places, go to like Lake Placid, you know, get some real like good snow action, snowboarding, throw the frisbee around a little bit. I want to take it everywhere now because I'm like, man, this thing's pretty cool. And then towards, you know, at the end of like graduating, qualified, and I figured out that like my transfer is going to go to Hawaii, be on a submarine, and my brother's spring break is actually the same time as my transfer. So I'm like, hey, maybe we should like take a big trip. So we figure it out. We drive to California. So I start in New York. I meet up with him in Columbus, Ohio, and then we head out west on 70. And then first day, you know, through Indianapolis, went up in St. Louis for like dinner time, and we throw the frisbee, you know, in the parking lot by the arch. It's pretty cool. If you've ever been to the arch, it's really neat. It's big, and get pretty close to throwing it in the Mississippi River. We're like, whoa, we're gonna step away, go to the arch. So we're throwing the frisbee under the arch. It's a pretty cool spot. And then, you know, we're not perfect. Sometimes we drop it. This little kid comes out of nowhere. He's just like, hey, you suck. And he's just following us around, just talking shit, like, all day. And we're just like, we keep losing. He keeps finding us again. We're like, all right, whatever. So we get out of St. Louis. We keep moving. We end up in Kansas City that night. Don't really want to go back to Kansas City too much, but that was our stop. Next day we wake up, go to down 70. We end up in Denver, Colorado around lunchtime. Get some Quiznos. And then we find this really open space. Turns out to be the in front of the Capitol building in Denver. It's a really big yard. It's pretty cool. It smelled kind of bad. I don't really know. Maybe there's like a sewage issue, but it's beside the point. So we're throwing the frisbee. We're doing real good. Like, having a lot of fun. It's like perfect weather, like 70 degrees in March, and we're just running, getting it. And my brother Will throws it. It kind of like side swipes a little bit. I miss it. It just rolls away. I'm running after it. And this homeless guy sees it. And he's like, oh, I got it. He picks it up. He's like, all right, he's going to throw it back to me. So I'm like 15 feet away from him. So, and then it's like, all right. I'm like, right here. Boom. It's just in the air, just straight up. And we're like, oh no. And he gets stuck at the top of the tallest tree. And the homeless guy's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, he feels like real bad. And we're like, how are we going to get this thing down? We're going to let this hold up our trip, you know? And this kid comes by with a Nerf ball. He's like, hey, you guys want some help? And we're like, yeah, man, thanks. So he throws it up. We take turns throwing it a little bit. Not the homeless guy. The homeless guy, he's just watching. He's not participating. And after a little bit, we give it back to the kid. The kid throws it up. Frisbee kind of, ball comes down. The frisbee, like, moving, down. So we got it back. And we're like, all right, let's get out of Denver, right? So we head up, you know, west of Denver, up the Rockies. It's like a blizzard. It was weird because we were making t-shirts and stuff, and then it's just like a blizzard. I'm trying a hard time staying on the road in my truck. And we drive through there. We end up getting out of Colorado, and we end up in Utah around like midnight. And turns out, you know, back in the day, I didn't have a smartphone or anything. My brother, he had a Sprint. The Sprint didn't work past the Rockies. Like, I don't know how you're supposed to know that. But, so we didn't have any internet. and we had no idea where we were. All we had is a road atlas, and all I see is a sign that says Moab, Utah, 47 miles. I'm like, all right, is that even a place? Because some of these places are just empty, like if you've ever been out west. So I'm like, what am I going to do? I realized I remember this girl I know. So I called this girl I dated in New York for a little bit, Kristen. And she was from Utah, I guess, originally. And I'm like, hey, Kristen, how are you doing? She's like, it's 3 in the morning. Like, why are you calling me? I'm like, oh, yeah. Well, I'm in Utah. She's like, what? You're in Utah? And I'm like, yeah. So, what are you doing in Utah? I'm driving to California with my brother. We're going on a cross-country trip. She's like, oh, that's cool. Like, what are you calling me for? And I'm like, well, you see, I'm near Moab. Like, is Moab, is that a place? Like, is there hotels and stuff there? And I get gas. I'm like, running out of gas. She's like, yeah. There's like Arches National Park. There's hotels and stuff, like tourists, all that stuff. So I'm like, all right, thanks, Chris. And she's like, so when are you coming back? And I'm like, soon. So bye, Kristen. And so we move on, and we find a place in Moab, which is good. And it's just like, everything's just dark. You look out my front window, like, it's just blackness. Look at my rear mirror, it's just like blackness. So we just see like a light of like this building. It was like a hotel. That's like the only thing there was. And we're like really happy we found it. So we end up stopping, and then the next morning wake up, and the sun comes up, and just orange rocks like everywhere, and the arches and stuff. Like there's like a few of them, weird rock formations and stuff. I've never seen anything like that, but it was pretty neat. And so we go out, we hike out to one of the arches, and we're like, all right, we're gonna throw the frisbee around the arch. So we're throwing the frisbee. There's rocks like cactus everywhere. We get all cut up. We're like bleeding. We're like, all right, we're gonna take a break from this. But we threw it around. Like, it wasn't great, but we had to throw it everywhere. So we move on. We end up at the Bryce Canyon a few hours later, which is, we got lost down there. There were these rock stacks, these little rocks. We thought it was the same one, but they were all different, turned out. So then we got really frustrated after we were down there for like 3 hours. We couldn't get out of this ravine. And started kicking over these rocks. We just find another one. It was like real scary. There's like no water down there or anything. So we're like, let's get out of Utah. So we end up trying to get out of Utah. We end up right on the Arizona border around in the evening. It's not really like, so you got stuck in Utah for a whole day. The next day, we head into Arizona, go to the Grand Canyon, throw around the frisbee a little bit, but we want to be careful. We don't want to throw it into the Colorado River. I don't think we're going to be able to get it back from there. So, yeah, so went off the beaten trail a little bit, checked out the ravine in the Grand Canyon. It's pretty cool. I tried peeing into the Colorado River in like a desolate area, but it turns out the gradient isn't, straight down. There's like, it's a few feet. Can't make it from the top. It's kind of a bummer. So we moved on out of the Grand Canyon, and I got a flat tire, and I ended up noticing like the edge of my tires were getting bald, so I need to get new tires. So I have this place, Williams, Arizona, and this car shop's like ripping me off. They're like $15 per tire to rotate a tire. I'm like, how do you rotate one tire? But they don't have any new tires. I don't have any choice, so I do that. And we keep going. We end up in California pretty late that night. We stay at El Rancho Chucamonga, which is, outside LA. And we get a hotel there, and the next morning I wake up, get a rental car, because I'm going to drop my car off, ship it to Hawaii. We're going to the car shipper place, and we end up passing it by like one block, and there's just signs like, welcome to Compton. I'm like, whoa, Compton, I've heard of that place. And I'm like, this doesn't seem so bad, Then right when I said that, there's this woman with 2 children in the street, and the cops, there was a police officer like driving, and she's standing right in front of the car, and then he's like, ma'am, you need to get out of the street. Like, you can't be in the street, just standing there. And then she looks this guy dead in the eye in this cop car, and she's like, "Fuck the police." It's like freaking mind-boggling. I'm like, let's get out of Compton. The cop drives around her and keeps going. She stands there. I'm like, I just do a U-turn. I'm like, getting out of here. And we end up finding our way back, and I get my car inspected and get it shipped, and we take the rental car and we leave. And we go to Long Beach. Long Beach is a pretty good spot to throw it. Definitely interesting. It's kind of cool. It's got like the race car stuff on the outside. It's pretty neat. So then the next day, we do some stuff in LA, but it's not like LA's like a big place. It's not like a tourist attraction so much. So the next day we decide to drive up the 5 to San Francisco. So we go through Bakersfield, and then we end up in San Francisco, and it's getting pretty late. So we're going to get a hotel. We end up in Oakland, so I'm like, all right, I can just get a hotel in Oakland. Like, Oakland doesn't seem too bad. And we had an experience. We decided not to stay there. So we're like, let's go to Berkeley maybe. But I ended up accidentally crossing the bridge into San Francisco. And I'm like, oh man, now I have to find parking. I'm not going to find a cheap hotel here. Because I've been paying like $30 a night for a hotel. Like, not going to find it in San Francisco. So we find a place to park the car overnight. We have to wake up at 6 a.m. to move it. And we start walking the block a little bit. And we see this place that says hotel, like neon letters. And we're like, oh, that was easy. So we go to this hotel. And then we walk in. It's a little different than any hotel I've ever seen before. There's this guy at the front desk, got like a pink shirt, like spiked up hair. And I noticed like the desk is like bulletproof, which is pretty weird. And then you hear this crashing upstairs, just like dishes and just some guy yelling. You're like, what is going on? So I asked this guy, hey, like we're looking for a hotel room. Can you help us? And then he says, oh, I'm sorry. This is a hotel for homeless people. I'm like, what? He was like, it's for homeless people. And I'm like, well, we're homeless. That's why we need a hotel. And he's like, no, it's not for people. Not for you. And what? So we go find another place. We ended up finding a place eventually. It was a little bit expensive, but it was okay. The next day we wake up. We go out in San Francisco a little bit. Throw frisbee. There's a park near where we were. We walk like through like all of San Francisco, like the whole town. We should have taken a bus, but we just walked. And we ended up going by the Golden Gate Bridge. There was a park. Throwing the frisbee around a little bit. This dog picked it up. And he brought it back to us. It ended up being this cute chick's dog. So it was kind of interesting. And the evening's done, and then we leave San Francisco. And we head back south. So we drive for a day. Meet my friend Schultz in San Diego because he's stationed on like an aircraft carrier there or something. And we go to Coronado Beach, throw the frisbee around at Coronado Beach a little bit. I find a seashell, right? And it's got like a hole in it. It's like, I'm like, this is perfect for like a necklace or something. It's like, yeah. So Schultz goes and he gets some seaweed and he makes this necklace. And he gives it to me and I'm like, dude, that's the gayest thing you've ever done. But whatever, right? And so I got this necklace. I'm holding it. I like wear it for a second. I'm like, no. And then we're throwing the frisbee. I see this cute group of girls, so I'm like, ooh, frisbee. In their direction. Maybe I hit them on accident. But, so then they started throwing it back. We're throwing it back and forth a little bit. There's one girl that's really cute. And I go to her, I'm like, hey, my friend made me this necklace, and I just wanted to give it to you because I think it would look way better on you. She like giggles and laughs, and we're throwing the frisbee around. Every time I see her at the beach, we're walking around, she like waves at me. Like, man, I could really get this girl's number probably, but I'm never gonna go back to San Diego, so I just let it go. Turns out I'm going to San Diego in like a couple of weeks, so was me. So then the next day, me and my brother have to take our flights out, right? So my brother's flying back to Ohio at 6 a.m. and I'm flying to Hawaii at 8 a.m. So we wake up in the hotel at 7. And my brother's like, I missed my flight. I'm like, oh, yeah, you did. My brother's 16. So it's like, I'm a little bit thinking, like, man, is this going to be okay? And they take him to the airport, let him know, like, hey, like, we missed this flight. And they're like, oh, we'll see if we can help him. My brother asked me, he's like, what do I do? And I'm like, you got to stand at the terminal and look real sad. Like, I miss flights all the time. That's all you got to do. You just got to stand outside the gate, talk to the airplane people, like, hey, I missed my flight. Just look real sad. You're not going to have to buy another ticket. You're going to get where you need to go. So he's like, all right. He's like, should I tell Mom? I'm like, don't tell Mom. I guess Mom's going to know now. But he ends up making it back. He makes it to school the next day. He's like 3 hours early. He goes straight to school. I guess he had a more interesting spring break than most of the other sophomores in high school did. So then I fly out to Hawaii. Pretty long flight, straight over water. And I get to my submarine, get my living situation set up, find a little bit of time, throw my frisbee around at Kapiolani Park a little bit, try the beach. The beach in Hawaii just isn't really quite as good. It's like not as big. And kind of lost track of the frisbee for a little while. I had a lot of work to do. So then a couple years, like a year later, I'm at the beach. I'm like, I don't really want to bring my frisbee. I get invited to this barbecue. So I bring my frisbee to this barbecue at Lanikai Beach. And throwing it around a little bit. This kid wants to play. I'm like, all right, kid, like, cool. Like, we can play. Just don't throw it in the water. Like, it sinks. It's like, okay. So we throw it around for a minute. And then, of course, like, he throws it straight into the ocean. Just, like, straight out into the ocean. And I'm like, so I'm running after the frisbee. I'm like, no. We've been through so much, I'm going to save it. And I dive in. I see, the old frisbee in one of the waves, like over like coral, and then like the tide's going out, like a wave comes in, and then the sand just comes up, and then I can't see it anymore. I get like washed away from it a little bit, and I'm looking for it, like it's just gone. I'm searching for it, and like this frisbee's gone. Tide's going out. I'm like, man, I don't know where it is. So I go back up to the shore, looking probably a little bit sad, but I'm not trying to make it seem like I'm trying to ruin the party. So try to keep cool. And then my friend Nate Mattern shows up. And Nate's a pretty cool guy. He hasn't always been the most fit, He's got a little bit of flab, pretty hairy back. And he's like, yo, Martello, can you sunscreen my back? And I'm like, alright. Whatever. So I'm doing that. I'm like, man, I don't know if this is a good day. And Mattern goes swimming. I'm just go get some hot dogs. The food's all done. Hang out for a little bit, And then I'm getting about ready to go. Like, I'm getting a little bit toasty. I'm like saying my goodbyes, and then Mattern comes out of the water, and he's like, hey, guys, look what I found. And he's got this yellow frisbee with the green line in the hole. I'm like, Mattern, you found it. And he's like, what? And I'm like, that's mine. And he's like, finders keepers, man. Like, what? You left your frisbee in the ocean? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, finders keepers, dude. I'm like, so then I told him the whole story up to this point. And then, he had to give it back to me. So I've been through a couple more things with it. Like, I took the frisbee to San Diego, ended up in the same place, at the same beach, throwing it around with the boat when we went. And then also, I took it home. Last time I went on leave, I went back to Columbus, Ohio, and I took it home with me because me and my brother were going to throw it around. We didn't really get around to throwing it around too much. Try it a little bit, but we didn't find a good spot. And then the last day of my leave comes around. I got to go back to Hawaii. So I got my flight booked for the next morning. My friend Albert's like, "Hey, let's go out tonight." I'm like, I don't know. I have flights tomorrow. Like, I don't want to make a big deal. Like, I don't have any problems. He's like, no, it's like really good night, you know. So we go out. We end up at this gay bar. And I'm not homophobic or anything, but gay bars like not always my scene. And I'm like, "Why are we going here?" And he's like, "Well, they legalized gay marriage like today or something." So it's like packed, like everyone's there, I guess. And it's like even hard to find parking on North High Street. So finally we find this like, back parking area, and then we head in to this like called League or something. I don't remember the name of the bar, but it was okay. We had a pretty good time. And we're heading out after that, and me and my brother go to the car, and I go to open the door, and I'm like, hey, there's glass everywhere. So the back window's busted out. My backpack's gone. So that was the only thing I brought with me, my backpack. So my backpack had my clothes, my laptop. The only thing I had in my pockets were my phone, my cell phone, and then I had a rubber band with some cash, my credit card, my ID. So my wallet got stolen. My Kindle, just everything. Like everything I brought with me. So I ended up going to the airport the next day with like just nothing. But I made So the last thing was my frisbee. The frisbee was in the bag, and frisbee got stolen. So next day I ended up flying back to Hawaii, and I made an insurance claim. I actually got $3,000 for the contents of my bag, so that's pretty cool. I was like, not expecting that. But yeah, long story short, my frisbees right now it's gone, and I was just telling this story at work. So people were like, "Man, like maybe you should put this out there because every time you've told people your story before, they've always given the frisbee back." So I'm not looking for any revenge or anything, or like, don't want any payment back, but, if you see my frisbee, maybe you can let me know. Maybe you can find its way back to me again. It'd be pretty interesting. If not, if you love something, you gotta let it go, but I'm really hoping. So if you have any information, you could make a comment below, or if you have the frisbee, you can send it to the address posted below. So thanks for listening. Talk to you later.